Morning, everyone. So, going to talk to you about young guys and digital customer journey. But first, I want to introduce myself, Yves-Alain Schwaar. I'm Swiss, a local, so to say. I didn't have to travel that far. That's why I arrived the latest yesterday evening. Sorry about that. I work for a company which is called Sommet Education. Sommet Education is a group of schools owned by a French equity investor called Eurazeo. And we run different schools, and I will get to that now. So, nope. Right. Sommet Education is actually a group of schools. You might have seen the names already, Les Roches and Glion. These are our schools' brands. We have different schools around the world. What we offer is a hospitality and hotel management school. Very premium schools. A bachelor degree in our schools costs between, in China, 100,000 euro to 150,000 euro in Switzerland. So it's an expensive school. We have campuses in Switzerland, in Crans-Montana, a competing resort to Grindelwald. In Glion, which is near Montreux. We have a school in London, one in Chicago, one in Marbella, and a very nice place to go, actually, I recommend you. And one in Shanghai, in China. So we have all in all 7 schools, 2 brands, and we have about 1,600 students coming to our schools every year. Okay, and the challenge is they're all millennials, so most of them are millennials, because we offer a bachelor degree and a master's and MBA degrees for a bit older people, but still very young, actually. Just shortly, we based on the American model. That's why we call it a bachelor degree. And we are accredited by an institution which also accredited Harvard, MIT, and Yale. So it's a quite premium brand, so to say. And we're happy to be part of that group. He doesn't want to. And yeah, we're looking for high ranking because it's important due to the price we ask for our schools. We want to make sure we are one of the best schools in the world in regards of hospitality management. One of the important things for us is to be reputed also by the people which will hire our students, which is very important. Maybe I need to switch it on. All right. Well, a few awards. I'll save you with that. So different awards, and we consider the top 2 hospitality school in the world. Oh, thank you. Might work now. Yes. All right. So what is important for us is certainly creating a premium experience for our students because it's very premium. We want to be a boutique school, and also we open for our students a wide network of once of a lifetime net. Basically, a lot of people around the world, 25,000 people, 65% are in management and positions. We have about 98 nationalities on the campus. It's very global as a multicultural, diverse schools, and we have 130 countries represented in our alumni body. So it's a very cheap product, very highly priced, and therefore very interesting as a marketing case to study and to see how you can basically get people through the doors of our schools, knowing that we recruit in 100 countries. And people have to pay 50,000 euro to get to our schools. So that's the story I will tell you today. How do we do that? And how do we do marketing and different tactics and strategies? But first to start, and I think it's, speaking about millennials, well, you know the goldfish. Why do I put a goldfish? Because studies say that the goldfish has an attention span of 9 seconds. Okay? So a goldfish can focus for 9 seconds on something. And the millennial has actually only 8 seconds attention focus. Don't laugh, it's serious stuff. And there's a reason for that. I think we shouldn't laugh at millennials because I think they're our future, and that's the way they are, and the way they consume media, and that's the way we need to catch their attention. So, and to take an example, I mean, I grew up with the left guy. I'm a bit younger than the left guy, okay, but still. I grew up with newspapers. I didn't have much of a choice to consume media. I had a paper or a book. And that's it. I didn't have much of a choice. I didn't have an overflow of content. While the guy on the right, he has an iPad, he can look at Instagram, YouTube videos, and if he doesn't get interested, he switches to the next thing. He zaps all the time, okay? So that's also why the attention span is very short, because they have a choice. They have a choice of consuming anything which is available at any moment, and I think that's what makes my job challenging with my team, is to get their interest. It's working. And just when I do a lot of focus groups with our students, because they're just next door to my office, and I gather them, and they're very nice and willing to share what they do and how they came to our schools and what kind of media they consume. And one example is being YouTube. Well, that's all statistics, 400 hours uploaded every minute. 70% of the consumption of YouTube is on mobile today. An average session is 40 minutes, and we have 1.5 billion monthly users. And most of them tell me, I don't really look a lot at Google search things on YouTube. Okay, so they went away from a text-based search to a visual-based search. And that's one key channel for me, for example, is to capture their attention on YouTube, one example. The next one, Instagram. And as we have students from all around the world, it's not only about Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. For us, it's also about Youku, WeChat, our first market being China. I just took names you will know better about, but it's a very diverse setup of platforms we need to cater for, create content, create stories, and one important one, because it's a bit of a premium segmentation. People which use Instagram on iPhones of the latest models have a tendency more to be potentially some students with our schools than other ones, and typically I do a lot of things on Instagram because it's efficient, it works. Being organic or being paid. I'll get to that later. So again, it's a very interesting platform, very dynamic. And who uses Instagram on a daily basis? All right, quite a few people. How much time do you spend on every post? Half a second? A third of a second? You scroll all the time, okay? So my chance is I need to catch attention while they scroll, okay? That's my job. One of the jobs we have to do. And that's an interesting one. And yes, I think it's important to say it's like an overflow of information, of data, of consumption, and it's difficult for young people, quite logically, to have an attention span of 8 seconds because there's so much available all the time, and there's so much diversion and things happening which are making them switch because suddenly there's something more interesting. So there's a message coming on an app coming to take your attention for next information. And yes, it's like taking a fish from a fire hydrant. How do you select what you're interested for, and how do you consume all that while not losing your focus? And I think that's the challenge of new generations, also of ours, as we grow with the new media, is how to cater, how to cope with that, and for us as a marketeer, how to be part of this little piece which gets in front of their eyeballs. That's a picture from the Holi festival. Who knows the Holi? Who's done a color run? Okay, a few people. It's something which comes from India. It's a Holi festival in India, which it's about spreading nice colors around, pigment of colors. It looks like it's familiar to you. It's very popular and it's big. It's spread a lot around the world. Why that? And that's a picture of a festival organized by our students in Montreux. They organize it every year, part of the study, and they have a big party. Okay, there's a music group with Indian music. They throw things around and having fun. And millennials are more about having fun and having experiences than owning things. Okay, they're much more about. They prefer to go for a travel around the world and enjoy traveling as buying a car. Okay, and that changes completely also the way we approach them because they have a different mindset and different way of thinking about things. That's typically one example where it's visually very appealing for us. Okay? This is kind of the content. For me, it's gold. If students start to share that kind of content, for me, it's nice because it speaks about the schools and it's very visuals. And that's the kind of content you stop on Instagram to have a look at more details, okay? Right. You might think when you're young, you'd between 17 and 20, it's a bit overwhelming, all that. I mean, you stand in front of all this massive amount. It's like if you stay in New York on the Fifth Avenue and all these cars passing by, and you're just a bit overwhelmed by it. And it's how do we get their attention? And that's the question. How do we do that to basically capture their attention and get them to get interested for our schools and come to study our schools? So what we did is basically spend some time, and I do spend, again, a lot of time with the students to understand what is the journey, how do they come to our school, what kind of media they consume, what kind of content is interested for them. And basically, we have defined what we call a journey, which is a simplified one. It's not as simple as that. It's quite complex. But they start with searching. And then, again, Indian will be another way than Russian, and then Americans, than Chinese. Okay? And so the influence of what we call the sponsor, being the parents. When do they intervene in the journey of decision? For example, I take an example. In India, the family is the core of the decision, and the father has the say most of the time. And I always have interesting stories from the field people which say, well, I was the other day in India, and I sat in front of 50 members of the family, and they asked me, why should I send my kid to your school? So it's a very familiar decision, and therefore the journey will be different per region, depending on the interest of the people, who influences the decision, but also what are the key decision factors which make them buy or not buy our school. And in typically it's ranking, reputation, security. They want to send kids for the first time abroad, and they're 17, and they're feeling a bit unsafe parents. So we need to reassure them that it's a nice place, a nice environment, secure, not going to be drug problems or whatever. And basically that's what we do in a search and compare. They start considering that they fill out a form, get contacted by our people, and then they start to apply, and then they prepare the arrival, and then when students speak about us, and that's what we want to foster, because content is king, we all know. Right, and we've basically a bit spread more thinner, our different stages, and that's where how I drive the strategy for the team, is basically to define, okay, there's a phase which is, and it's more logical for the ones who do marketing automation, there's a phase of traffic acquisition. You basically drive volume via social media, paid, via organic, via search, via all the means you can have to get attention of your audience. Once you get them on the website, you're going to try to convert them. First to fill out a form, and after to start interacting with people in the field, because every student of us is being handled personally by someone which is locally present. Due to it's quite logical. And then once they quite convinced, we hope converting them into to a real student, because they still have a choice. Most of them, I take an example in the US, student average applies to 5 different universities. Okay, so even if I have an application from a student, he still have a choice of 5 schools in his mind. Okay, and I might be his first choice. I need to work, convince him that I'm the best choice for him and also for his parents. So that's what we do on days. And I mean, we all know that the journey is not that linear anymore. It's not a straight funnel where you have different steps and then you get to the goal and you pay and it's done. It's not an e-commerce story. It's not an impulsive buy. It's a very well thought through. It's like if you buy a Ferrari, you think about it before you buy it. And it takes a lot of time. It's a long journey. Typically, a bachelor of students is going to start 6 months at least before he goes to the school, up to 2 years. I need to keep him entertained for over 18 months, and that's a bit of a challenge, possibly. A master or MBA degrees is more short, it's 3 to 6 months, and therefore it's a more intense nurturing. But it's an interesting challenge because I'm looking for a very premium, wealthy audience, if you want so, which is interested in hospitality and customer experience management study, and wants to come and study in Switzerland, in Spain, in UK, or in US or in China. So it's a very interesting audience, very niche, and that's what makes it exciting, basically. So how do we do that? And what is important is for us is to really think of a 360 approach. Email is one of the important pieces of our strategy, certainly, because the moment we know them, we're going to nurture them, engage them for events, ask them the counselor. So there's a lot of, we don't know administrative say on the email. There's a lot of entertaining content, but what's important is to basically where they are. I'll try to maximize my share of screen with the right content, the right stage of the journey, like device. Okay. And one thing is important, and as we said, they have a choice. Okay, they have a choice every time to any content. So if I don't connect them, Emily, they will move away. And typically on the right, we are very lucky because we have beautiful campuses, okay, on the mountains, beautiful scenery. They graduate. It's a very emotional moment in life, and that's typically one key moment in my life as a marketeer, is to capture a maximum of things which happen on graduation day, because they share that with all their friends. And as we know, for young people, referral is the best seller. So therefore, it's important to capture the passion, the moments, the joy of graduating our schools. And also, for example, we have a booth on the graduation ceremony where people can go and with their friends get pictures and share on Instagram. So we really try to foster the content creation of students to be present. And again, it's very important to be emotional, and what I say is get under the skin of the people. Okay, you really need to create this bonding and this passion for the brand we're selling. And we're very happy because our students, they love school most of the time. Not everyone, but most of the time. And they're happy to share and to be ambassadors and to tell stories for us, which is, for me, one post from a student is worth 10 Swiss francs I spend or 100 Swiss francs I spend on media, because it's much more efficient. And what is important now, what we do is basically we get storage. That's typically one which is short, which is a
as well that this is an industry that requires creativity and innovation to be able to be successful. Otherwise, you become redundant, and the status quo certainly isn't part of our business. Well, the foundations of business and leadership are really kind of entrusted to you through the course of your education in a school like Les Roches. Firmly, I think the key leadership foundations are already established at the early juncture. It's just a matter of how you utilize these key leadership values and use them as a foundation to start as a good business operator, understand the field of interest that you want to be in to begin with, and where you really want to go more than anything else in the world. Years ago when I started out, I think I was feeling a bit lost. And a lot of my colleagues were going out and doing management trainees, and that's not something that I was personally interested in doing. I felt the culinary arts at the time was really going to excite me, and I started off as a chef in my career and started traveling. As a hotelier, if I can travel the world, and I've been through from France to Ireland, and these working experiences, through to New York, I lived in the States extensively, Miami, Dubai, Qatar, Asia, so much 4 continents. From these experiences, we learned so much about the world around us. In order to be successful in the industry, you have a combination of skill, is who you are as an individual. I think most importantly, leadership qualities and what leadership means to you as an individual, and bringing those values of respect, empathy, building trust, empowering your team to deliver great results is what really makes for a great, successful hotelier.
Right, so you see, with this video, it's one of our former students, which now is at St. Regis in Mumbai. I think when we speak about hospitality, we think about hotel management, serving at a restaurant, which is not what we teach people to do, and that's what we have to fight a lot for. So you see, he's kind of showing this very glamorous and premium environment. It's been shot by a Bollywood film director, actually, and it's very emotional and it's very premium in the feeling you have. At the same time, it speaks about the values we want to push as a school: innovation, entrepreneurship, global, multicultural. He's been traveling the world. When you're 17 and you look at the video once you've already applied for this, it's very convincing because he's been very successful. And the environment is very premium, and you just basically. And we have to do with the video that we produce for YouTube. We use also as a nurturing as we move. Another example. This one is more. We're going to push in a very different way. Do pay, for example, grab attention. More of a commercial. This is really a video which is, you see the pace is much faster. You have 5 seconds to catch attention. So it's very paced, it's very funky, it's very young. It's still premium and glamorous at the end, but this one really looks at capturing attention at the beginning of the journey when people are still looking around. And that's what this kind of videos is to really adapt to the millennials. It's not very super funky and serious as the other video is, but it's efficient because that's what the kind of content people do like when they're 17 to 20. And so the difference of more entrepreneurship, glamour and boutique style. So it's the different positioning of the have. Right. What is important and really play with all possible media of 10 people. I do not create the content as a marketing team, but I get in the front of the eyes. The is spread in London, Switzerland, and China, because China is the biggest market. They're only to get for China and the which and of the world, as well as local need to run to have efficiency there. We're really with all the different elements of digital marketing to make sure we capture attention. And over time, since 2-3 years, we've reached far more than 50% of the enrollments come via digital channels. The rest happens in fairs, in events, in the field. But most of the business is generated via digital channels nowadays. Quite logically, that's where people are. Right. Just to maybe apply different layers of the story. We all know they start to be anonymous. Okay, we get a cookie dropped on a mobile, mostly on the mobile today. 65% of the traffic on the website is coming from mobile. We put a cookie, the retargeting and all these classical things that everyone does. And then what you see on the left is basically different stages. We use Salesforce as a CRM. So basically we use Marketo as a marketing automation tool, which we feed into Salesforce. And then basically we start to nurture them, always digitally, but mainly to the degree of physically. So we assign a person in the field, which will get in touch with the person over phone, over WeChat, or over WhatsApp, whatever it is, get in touch. And basically you have the first stages: contact, interest, confirm interest, application. People started to document. They have applied. We admit because they respect the rules and the admission requirements. They become pre-enroll and the students. And what one is on the right stage, we talk about the intention behind the journey of people, and the middle is how we split in stages, what we call early stage, which is about convincing, telling nice stories, short, efficient, because they still didn't apply, possibly. The second one, the mid-stage, is more reassuring, testimonial videos, telling stories, telling that our students, they get support to get to an internship. They have a choice of 4 or 5 internships, or the 2 internships they do during the studies, and also showing them the success they're going to have after. And everyone in our schools which finishes has a job, if he wants to. quite a good job normally. And then the late stage is really, and what the student tell me is, when I've done, guys, don't come with marketing bullshit anymore. I know the school, I know what I want, I've applied. I just want you to tell me what to pack, what is life in Switzerland, what I need to do. And basically we do a lot in the late stage, we do a lot of live Instagrams, live Facebook, where we open the round for questions, and we reassure them, prepare them, and then we wait for them at the airport to bring them to the campus. So that's what we call late stage, and that is apply and arrive. Right. Also, I didn't tell you all the secrets of what we do, but that's a lot of how I built digital journey, and that is for e-commerce. And I always, in our case, also at the landing page for we have a website, email. In our case, we're going to soon have a to manage all live. Until now, I didn't have a chat. It's a shame because some of them tell me email. I have an email to be able to fill a form on the website. So it's interesting to see how behaviors evolve. And I think it's important to needs. That's why I'm going to build a call center in the next 2 months to be able to cater for the live chat. And then at the end, well, we don't have a store in our case, but we have people in the field. So this is an example of an e-commerce I've set up earlier, dividing the different stages and how you're going to use the different channels to address the needs and push them through the funnels to get to the end. Okay, I do the same for every stage for the customer journey or student journey, as we call them, to make sure my story is consistent, that my content is the right content at the right stage, and I use technology to push custom audiences in Facebook, Instagram, on YouTube, to basically be able to retarget them, even if they're already known for me. I just want to address them with specific content, and I need to pay sometimes to get in front of their eyes. Otherwise, I cannot get that. So that's what basically we do. And this is essential, and we all know that. It's A/B testing, optimizing all the time. Every video needs to be seen at. Did it work? Didn't it work? What can we do better? It's a constant learning process to get to the goals. My goal is to get more students through the doors. And that's it. So I'm happy to answer any. I don't know if we have one, 2 more minutes for questions. Otherwise, I'm available for any question during the day or tomorrow also. Yep. Thank you for your attention. Yes?
Thank you.
I'm Michael from Boom Marketing. One question, where in the customer journey do you focus on the parents? Because I think they're the one who has to pay the bill.
Yeah, well when the moment it's a difficult one because I don't always know them as a sponsor. I don't have their email address. And the IP and the cookie might be the same on the computer because both might use the same computer. So we work a lot on parents more face-to-face. I'm trying to build, the moment I have an email address for the parents in the CRM, I'm starting to do specialties for them. Addressing the needs is basically ranking, as you say, security, reputation, ROI. It differs per region. India is much more about ranking. Are more about academic quality. So there's different needs in different markets. I try to address that per region, basically, by doing personalization. But it's a different, I don't always have the chance to have the contact, and that's my challenge.
Thank you.
Hi, Linda Bouwman from Webfluence. I have 2 questions. Isn't it more the generation, the iGen, where you have to focus on, the people up to 24, the millennials?
No, because normally the moment they start looking for our schools is they're 16 to 17. Yeah. And when they start school, they're like 18 to 20. Yeah. And I have a different strategy for masters and PG, which are academic-driven, more LinkedIn, more other platforms I use. Yeah. I focus more on the bachelor. And they're very young. They're 16 to 18 today. Yeah,
no, yeah, because that's post-millennials already. So
yeah, I mean,
characteristics.
I mean, depending how you want to name it, but they have a kind of same behaviors in a way. Yeah.
Okay. And my other question is, what's your experience with influencer marketing?
I do. I didn't speak about that, but we do. We have beautiful campuses and a very nice, appealing storytelling. Cooking in a kitchen is very visually appealing. serving or being in a super 5-star hotel. So we do twice a year, one for what we call a vlogger trip. So we invite vloggers, which are very famous on YouTube and which get us a lot of visibility. And it's very efficient, yeah. I guess in a week I get up to 1 million views on videos talking about our school, thanks to that little... we don't pay them, because we don't want to pay them. I think they need enough interested to come to our school to experience, and they have a blast most of the time. And they have an experience with bloggers from all around the world, so that's bringing them value, and they're happy to share. And I see a lot of return on that, yeah. So it's very important for us, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Right, thank you.